Power used to rush, like the uninhibited flow of water through a system. It followed a path where it ebbs and flows. It followed a natural course, but that was until the dam broke. And the water surged and spluttered. The power no longer flowed. Now another system has been bestowed, where it's not about your skills, but who you know. They say the youth are lost, but we're just finding our flow.
Interview one, take one.
My name is Ryan, I'm from Hull and I'm from the Hull Partnership. Our focus is to improve the employment opportunities for young people who've experienced care.
My name is Pedro, I live in Brent, London, and I'm part of the Flourishing Futures Connected Futures Partnership. Our partnership's focus is to improve employment for young people in Brent.
My name is Summer, I'm from Nottingham and I'm from the East Midlands Partnership.
My name is Emily and I live in Ilkeston and I'm part of the East Midlands Connected Futures Partnership.
Our partnership focuses on improving employment outcomes for young people with autism and learning disabilities.
We, the youth, wade the rivers of uncertainty, careful of tangled reeds that trap our talent. We know our futures hang precariously in the balance. Barricades, barriers, and blocks to opportunity feel insurmountable when there's disconnection in the community. We know place-based solutions are better, so why aren't young people setting the agenda? I was left stumbling, crumbling, the lone pebble. We demand change now, and we won't settle.
When I was around 12, 13, I found it difficult to acknowledge my neurodivergent traits, specifically autism, ADHD and dyslexia. In terms of securing employment, I was low in self-confidence and self-esteem in applying to jobs because of the lack of disability-confident employers in my city. Youth Voice Ambassadors are person-centred role models with lived experience who listen and understand young people with autism and learning disabilities, and we also provide a voice for them so they can develop themselves into the young people that they are. The YVA role was the only job that I knew in the area that was tailored for autism and learning disabilities, so I thought it was perfect for me to go into.
Before I started my role, it was terrible. Like, everything was just going extremely terrible. Employment was one of the worst things that I've ever come across. I wanted to find a job, so what I did is I just started looking everywhere. And I went into pubs, I went into restaurants. I'd go to real estate companies and I'd ask if they had any vacancies, and they'd say no because I was too young or I didn't have 20 years of experience. It was always out of my reach to find a job in something I liked. I then had my interview with the Young Brent Foundation and I got my role for the Flourishing Futures. After finding the Young Brent Foundation, and now I understand that there's more to it than just money. I feel like helping people is one of the most important things. There will always be success, but how many can you say that you've helped succeed?
Before I started this job, my journey was quite difficult in regards to employment. A few years before finding this job, I had tried to work full-time, not understanding my disabilities, not understanding my needs, and I went into autistic burnout as a result, and I was completely bedridden for almost 2 years, and I had gone into a skill regression, and I had basically forgotten how to do everything from walking to talking to looking people in the eye, and I had to recover and teach myself how to do everything all over again. At that point, the only skills that I really had were focusing on the injustices of being disabled in this system, and all I knew was that I wanted to change that. And then I saw this job, and it was part-time, and it was all about changing the world and all about changing the system to how you want it to be. And that really spoke to me, and I thought, yeah, I really want to do something positive with the pain that I'm in and create some genuine systemic change with it.
I am autistic, and I am also physically disabled. I have quite bad anxiety. I'm not great at meeting new people. I don't have a lot of GCSEs. And then also anything I do needs to work around my caring responsibilities as well. I think that sometimes what gets lost in the way is that I'm also really good at other things, even if I do find some things more difficult.
Before I found my voice, I felt isolated, in despair, screaming out by the water. Does nobody care? Raging rivers swept me away, drenched hopes and dreams, drowning in hopelessness, feeling confused and going unseen. I took a journey along pathways, winding, curving, new skills, self-improvement, always learning. And beside the meandering river, eroding, no support, I was crumbling under services that often fell short. Then in the distance, the glimmer of opportunity arrives. Adrift in the system was the turning of tides.
The Recruitables are a group of care experienced young people in the Hull Connected Futures Partnership who are trying to break down the barriers that young people who've experienced care face to employment, education and training. The first things we did were we wrote survey questions, we did interviews with young people, and we did employer events to find out what the barriers were. From the research, we found that there was a disproportionate link between care experienced young people and the barriers to employment, education and training. As young people, we felt that this was a really important link to follow and to look at more deeply, and Youth Futures Foundation were really supportive of us, and so that's what we did. I think our work has had quite a large impact on the system as a whole. A lot of care experienced young people end up in supported housing and they end up experiencing what's called the supported housing trap. And what that means is that you end up in supported accommodation with very little support. Your rent is about £1,800 per month. And if you are on benefits, your benefits cover it. But if you start working, you become immediately liable for that, which puts young people who are in these types of accommodation unable to work because nobody can afford £1,800 for a single bedroom. We're hoping to change that locally within Hull, and Youth Futures Foundation have been feeding that information to central government. An example of when my lived experience has helped is that we did interviews with care leavers, and care leavers did not want to speak to members of staff at the Warren because they don't have that relationship with them. They don't want to discuss their lived experience, which I completely understand. It's very personal. But as soon as they understood that actually the interview wasn't being done by a member of staff, it was being done by another young person that has experienced very similar things that they have experienced, they became a lot more comfortable and they were a lot more willing to have the conversation.
The youth ambassador role is very diverse. I feel like a lot of people saw different ways of going with it. Some people help people with SEND. I chose to go with doing youth groups and the networking events. I already had a youth group for my church, but after Flourishing Futures was able to help me with my group, I get to talk to them about business. I get to mentor a lot of the boys that I have one-to-one, and it helps with their growth. And a lot of them went from unemployment to now being employed, and it's like helping others was so fulfilling because I spent around 2 years struggling to find a job, and I'm very grateful that I was able to help them so that they didn't need to go through what I did. Because I had been in so many jobs where my voice was never heard, and I felt like my opinion was never something that was special at all. But then here, when I offered to, anything I offered to be honest, it's like I get so much support. I can't remember the last time I've gone, I think we should do this, and they've gone, no, we're not gonna do that. And I truly feel like after I was listened to, now I can make an impact, and I think that my ideas are worth something.
So on a weekly basis, we attended different meetings, mainly discussions, suggesting ideas for change. There were 4 core ideas that we thought that were important aspect to improve employment outcomes in the region.
a role model campaign in which we showed other young people that are in paid employment with autism and learning disabilities in the East Midlands area, a supported internship campaign in which we showed the different pathways that are available to young people with additional needs, an IEP or individual employment plan, and the final core commissioning idea is the vocational profile toolkit, in which we skilled up teachers and educational facilities in order to encourage them to utilise vocational profiles more effectively with their neurodiverse cohorts. We were facilitated and supported to make decisions throughout the entire role, which was really powerful, and it was necessary because I don't think if I wasn't supported that I would have felt comfortable wielding so much power, because it was a lot for a group of young people to have, but we were facilitated and supported so beautifully through that, and it was never lost on us the responsibility that we had in our role.
I've come to realise that meaningful ideas can turn problems into solutions. I was able to make informed decisions with my colleagues, and as part of that I was able to influence decision making within the evaluation process. I share my thoughts and feelings about what I believed in. Having the right support and people around me made a real difference.
I realised pretty quickly that I had quite a lot of power in this role. I think it might have actually even been the first meeting that we had. I realised in that meeting that every single one of my suggestions was being taken on, and every single one was going to be put in, and that's when I realised that it was we, the young people, that had the power to form and design and create. I felt very proud to be a part of something that was practicing what it preached. So as an organisation, Direct Education Business Partnership and Youth Futures Foundation were incredibly accommodating and were putting young people at the forefront of decision making, and that was really, really powerful to know that that was happening.
Power is excitement, electricity in a closed circuit. Power is a spark, a jolt, a bright light to be repurposed. It's persistence, not perfection, in rewiring our journeys. Suddenly, the water is charged, intensifying and electrifying. And we, the youth who wade the waters, are filled with an emergent power. We know what power is. Power is finally winning the fight, the one you never opted to be in. Power is a wave, a surge, a roller coaster of anxiety. Power is the safety net of strong labour protections, allowing for risk-taking and innovation. Power is the confidence that can be created from our skills being valued and fairly compensated. And it's our responsibility to not be derailed, even though we're the ones who are being systemically failed. But in the crash of a waterfall, setbacks and confusion, was it actual power or a powerful illusion?
I came into this job feeling so worthless, and I left knowing that I can do anything that I set my mind to as long as I'm supported to do so. It's also encouraged me to take up space as a disabled person, to speak truthfully and to be authentic in myself, both in my own personal life and at work.
My role as a youth ambassador has changed me and the way I think drastically. I feel like my critical thinking is a lot faster, and I think that I can connect the dots between A and B very fast. And it's none to my merit, it's all to the merit of the Connected Futures programme.
My sense of agency has been incredibly impacted by being a young person involved in the project at the Warren. Before I was involved, I had very little confidence in what I said and what I did. I didn't feel that the way that I felt about bigger things mattered, whereas at the Warren and the recruitables I learned very quickly that what I said did matter, and that made me a lot more confident with the way that I felt about important things.
I have seen my confidence grow whilst working as a Youth Voice Ambassador. I've been able to make a positive impact in people's perceptions and of how they view autism and learning disabilities in the workplace, as well as individuals like us being employed. We're showcasing our skills and our abilities that we're able to undertake the work that we're responsible for.
If you'd have asked me to do this interview at the beginning, I'd probably laughed at you. I wouldn't speak in front of anybody, I wouldn't go to events, and now actually I really enjoy it. I think it's really important, and it's really helped me grow as a person, and I feel like I've grown just as much as the project has grown.
I think honestly I felt, well, I want to say invincible. I feel like it was amazing to go from having none of that to then having all of this power that like was just given to me. I felt like someone saw my worth. I went from not being listened to or my opinion meaning nothing to people listening to my opinion. And I truly feel like after I was listened to, now I can make an impact, and I think that my ideas are worth something.
My biggest moment for me was speaking at the Role Model Media Campaign event, because it's the first time I had spoken to a large audience, and it's shown to me that I had come quite far from where I was at the beginning, and it just shows that teamwork really does make a difference, and it just shows having a supportive team with you can enable great things to happen.
Systems change. Systems fade. The system's aged, it needs to be changed, renamed, yet young people are blamed. The support's there, the system claims, and yet young people continue to report the lack of opportunity, no unity or community when it comes to the struggle. I hear a crackle of emergent power. I notice the node of opportunity. Aha. The system is changing now, slow and subtle.
If we want employment to be sustainable for young people with additional needs, then we need to be making sure that we are creating inclusive, accessible, accommodating employment opportunities for them. Otherwise, it's just unsustainable.
I think young people should be involved at every stage of local systems change, because all of those changes and all of those decisions impact young people every single day. And I think if you are impacted by a decision, you should have some kind of say in what that decision is.
Because of young people's lived experiences, young people have the power to address the issues that affect them. Their voice has long-term impact. There's nothing about them without them.
Within the Warren and within the recruitables, we listen to young people because young people's voices matter, and just because people come from a different age bracket doesn't mean that what they say doesn't matter and isn't important. I feel like as a team, we are making a legitimate difference to people's lives. Young people are excited to be involved in the project. People are seeing genuine differences in their employment outcomes. Employers are on board, young people are on board.
It felt so unbelievably empowering to see not just the work come to fruition itself, but to see my individual participation in the work. It was so powerful going to the role model launch and being able to meet all of the role models themselves and their families, and hear from that young person that we did exactly what we said we were going to do, that we provided a role model for that young person with additional needs, and now that young person can go out, can watch those videos and see somebody like them in employment and know that they can do it too.
Part of the problem with being a care leaver and being in care is that decisions are not made with you. I wouldn't even say they're made for you, they are made to you. A decision is made without ever asking you what you want, how you feel about it, and then you have no control over that decision. That is just how it is. So it's really important for us that care leavers can make really important decisions about their own lives.
As a partnership, we have had a huge impact in the East Midlands region, considering we're the first region to do a project that focuses on improving employment outcomes for those with autism and learning disabilities. And even just being part of Youth Futures Foundation, I've seen a real impact in how the staff work to find the best research to help tackle the unemployment barriers in young people who come from marginalised backgrounds, and I feel really valued and appreciated to be part of that journey and to helping shape my region for the better. So I'm very looking forward to what's to come next.
The impact that our work has had on the system as a whole is incredibly powerful. This is the first time ever that young people with additional needs, that anyone with additional needs, has really been put at the forefront of decision making for things that actually affect them. We have never ever been given even remotely close to this kind of power before, and it is a responsibility that I have been so thankful for every day, and I might even tear up because this is the first of its kind, and it's certainly not going to be the last.
I believe young people should be in part of all system change and in all employment processes, and to get their opinion heard in all of them, because it doesn't make sense for you to structure your employment based on what an older generation wants, because a new generation is coming now. I think it's needed to have a young person to discuss policies that they will then face in their life.
Policymakers also need to be okay with the idea that it's going to take time and that it's going to take money. True inclusivity takes time and takes money. Yes, this programme was absolutely amazing, but it needs to be more widespread. There needs to be more of them, and it needs to be nationalised. I don't want to gatekeep this power. I want to make sure that other young people are getting this power. We can do anything as long as we're supported to do so. We just need to be making sure that those support systems are in place.
At the table, where local policies are made, we have seats, we have access. Our unique perspectives, lived experiences are essential assets. Here, young voices have risen, have given, have driven, because young voices don't give in. With tailored pathways and proper support and new ways to find the right support in the right place at the right time, change in local systems through meaningful co-creation, in organizations, local services, and one day the nation. Power surges like water through a system, and it's changing now through young voices and young wisdom. We know our value, feel our power, and have our say. Young people aren't just leaders of tomorrow. We are leaders of today. And when you look out across the system, on the precipice of choices, remember, local change starts by listening to young voices.
Local change starts by listening to young voices.
But what are you here for today?
I'm the sound guy.
You're the sound guy.
Yeah, I'm
What does that
a
entail?
sound guy.
You're a